Now, you've all shared with me that you want to increase your results, and eventually, the bottom line is you want to make more money. So, like Napoleon Hill said, there is a blueprint to success. What the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. I came from a place of nowhere. I was nothing 20 years ago. Nothing, had no money, was broke. And I'll come and share that, a little bit of that story shortly. But a lot of people also don't understand how to build relationships. Now let me ask you a question today. How many people in this room have got great relationships that you value? It's a rhetorical question, it's okay. Would you like to increase your relationships? Would you like to have more powerful relationships? Because I've learned in life, in my practical life, that the quality of your communication improves the quality of your relationships, and your relationships give you opportunities to other things. This Napoleon Hill conference is an amazing opportunity for anybody here to connect to people they've never met before and connect to an opportunity. But it's how do you build on that and how do you capture it? Rapport. Does anyone know what rapport is? What do you think rapport is?
A connection.
A connection. Who said that? Thank you. Anybody else? Relationship. Anybody else? Trust. Okay. So, is it fair to say that you won't only buy something from somebody you trust? Is that fair to say? Okay. So here's the thing about rapport. Most people don't understand what it is. And this is stopping people from actually creating trust in a relationship. A lot of people don't know how to create desire, but most importantly, over 95% of people don't know how to find a DBM. Does anyone here know what a DBM is? It is not a BMW, new brand. A DBM is a dominant buying motive, or the reason that your customer would buy from you. The hottest spot, the reason they would buy. And to find that is actually quite easy when you know how to do it. So applications of closing deals. These are just some applications. You could be a better networker. You could close a sale. You could buy a no money down property. Is anybody interested in buying a no money down property? Would anyone like to learn how to do that? Right? Well, that is really all about negotiation. Negotiating a business contract. Perhaps you want to recruit a downline for your MLM business, because that's very popular in this right now in the world. You might want to negotiate a trade, secure an investment. You might want to run a successful internet marketing business. Would anyone here like to sell products online? So to sell products online is a process. And anybody can learn how to do that with the right communication. So, what is a deal? Let's just get some clarity today. What is a deal? A deal is a successful exchange of benefits transacted by agreed products, services, and or money. That means there has to be an exchange. The law of compensation says you have to give before you receive. A lot of people try and receive before they've given anything, and they're not aware of that because they don't know the law of compensation. So, here's an example of what you can do when you know when to close the deal. This is a property that I purchased in Malaysia last month. If you are not Malaysian, Ringgit Malaysia is 3.5 to 1 US dollar. So that's around 100,000 US dollars for that apartment. Now I managed to negotiate that down to 365, but the bank valuation is 450,000, and I got a tax-free lump sum at the end of it of 40,000 ringgit. Would anyone be interested in receiving that? And a positive cash flow of 1,000 ringgit per month. Now, I'm not Malaysian, but I do that in Malaysia very often. And I'm just using principles of what I'm talking about today. This are some pictures of the property, just to show you where it is and what it looks like. But let's get back to closing a sale. Now, in terms of finding someone to buy your product, there is a process, it's called a funnel. This is not really what I'm going to talk about today, but it's probably something you've heard about. That you have to prospect, you have to qualify a prospect, then you have to make appointments, you have to present an opportunity, and then you close a deal. Now, before you even get to that level, there is something a lot of people are missing because they don't know what they're doing, or they've never been trained how to persuade people to their way of thinking. Here's a question for you. When somebody meets you, they normally ask you after the name exchange, excuse me, what do you do? I retire! Fantastic, congratulations. Are you happy, sir? No. Most retirees are not happy. But that's another workshop. Anyway. What do you do? The answer to that question is actually will determine the value of that relationship. And it will determine if you can connect to that person. So right now, ask the person next to you, what do you do? Okay, let's have one or two answers. Let's have one answer. Please shout your answer. You can go to the microphone if you want to. Give me an answer, somebody. What was the answer you got? Did they give you your business card? Their business card? Did they tell you what they did? My question to you is, did they give you a benefit of getting to know them more? Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, when anyone asks me what I do, I say, because my business is very unique, so I say to people, I supply $2,000 holidays from $50. I don't say I'm a travel agent. Does that make sense? So when you create a what do you do line, you have to create a benefit for that person to get to know you better, so there's more value for them to get to know you, because the benefit is clear. And when you've got a very good line, or a soundbite, people actually get naturally curious by why you said that. 2,000 holidays, dollar holidays for $50, how do you do that? Right or not? Some of you are probably wondering how we do that. So, that line can create a question from the person you're talking to, which creates interest. And that's where you build a relationship. Now, before you can do any of that, you have to create your brand. Does anyone here know what a brand is?
Trademark.
It's a trademark. It's something that you recognize, correct? Now, Napoleon Hill said in his book, Think and Grow Rich, that you have to believe. So, let's have a look at a common brand. Has anyone been to Starbucks recently? Why do you go to Starbucks? Sorry? Why do you go to Starbucks? Free Wi-Fi? Why else? Sorry?
Lifestyle.
Lifestyle? Why else? Relaxing? Not one of you said coffee. That's the power of a brand. Now in Malaysia you pay 10 ringgit for a Starbucks, you can pay 1 ringgit 20 from Bestari and Nasi Kandar, right? Yeah. So why do you pay $10? That's the power of a brand. And brand starts with belief. Now belief, when you have an intense, powerful belief, because you have a compelling vision of your future and what you want your outcome to be, you create a power. It's like Jedis have a power in Star Wars, right? It's like the Force. And this is the force that you give out to people, because belief attracts attention. Now, when I was 21 years old, I had no belief. And before you ask my age, I'm a bit older than 21 now. Only a few years. Boy, he's so young looking, isn't he? Yes. I know you were thinking that. Not. Right. So when I was 21, I had no belief. I was stuck in a very small kampong, a small town. And I was given my first opportunity to be in direct sales. And someone visited my town and said, right, Marco, do you want to sell timeshare on commission only in Manchester? I said, no way I want to do that. It was scary because it was commission only. Timeshare, I didn't know anything about it. But because I was so unhappy where I was, I decided to give it a go. So I went to start working this job, and for the first 4 weeks, I didn't sell anything. I was the worst salesperson in the company. In fact, I broke the record for the least number of sales. And I remember that the first day I arrived in that job, the first prospects that I saw were both blind. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how can these people see the benefits? What am I going to show them? I was scared, I didn't know what to do, but I spent time with them, got to know them, built a relationship, I didn't know what I was doing. So that kind of gave me a lot more fear of, am I in the right thing? Have I got the right purpose? Am I living my dreams? Am I in the right job? And after 4 weeks of not selling, I came to a stage where I had no money. Now, I could have gone back to my hometown, but I had even less money there. So, every day for the last week of that job, I walked home 5 miles because I didn't have any friends in the office. I didn't know how to build relationships. I ate a tin of peas, green peas, in a can every day for 5 days. And the questions I was asking were, why is this happening to me? Why am I not successful? Why is it always a problem for me? Why can't I get money? Does this sound familiar to anyone here who's been asking these questions? So I realized years later this was because I was being a victim. So the last day that I went to the office, I was told I was going to be fired if I didn't get a sale. Has anyone here been fired before? It's a great experience. I wish you'd get fired one day. It helps you grow quickly than if you don't get fired. It's a faster way of growing. So, the last day, I met a guy. He was one of the top salespeople in my company, and he gave me a book. And he said to me, Marco, I know you're not very successful now, but I can see you've got lots of potential, and I can see that you've got so much inside you want to get out, but you don't know how to do it. I want you to read this book, but tell nobody you're reading the book. And I said, why? Just don't tell anybody. And I'm like, this is interesting. I can't tell anybody, I've just got to read the book. But I respected him because he was one of the top salespeople. So I went home and I read the book, finished the book, put it down, picked it up, read the book, finished the book, put it down, picked it up, read the book, finished the book, did that. I read the book 8 times. Now, after I'd read this book, my paradigm of belief shifted. And suddenly, I had an intense belief about me. I had so much belief inside me, it was like I was plugging myself into the wall and running electricity through my body. It felt unbelievable. I was like, oh, I'm alive! I can feel it, baby! I was feeling so powerful I couldn't describe it. And I didn't walk to work, I ran to the office. And when I got to the office, I was covered in sweat, and my boss sent me home to get changed. This is true. I'm like, oh my gosh, I eventually got to the office. But I still had this intense belief. And my first client, my first prospect sat down, and they said to me, Marco, whatever you say to me today, we're not going to buy anything from you. We have not got any money. We want to think about it. This is not for us. Timeshare's a scam. Blah, blah, blah. So what I did, I said to him, I said, listen, stop what you're saying to me. Because what I'm going to do today is I'm going to blow your socks off. That means that you are going to sit down and you're going to listen to me and I'm going to change your life. And he looked at his wife, he went, and he sat down and he listened. And then after 10 minutes he gave me, we're not buying anything today, Marco. We're not going to buy anything today, whatever you tell us. So this exchange went on for 5 hours. 5 hours. And this intense belief was so compelling inside me that basically I had a mindset of nothing to lose. You know what? What the hell? If you don't buy it, doesn't matter. So at the end of it, he got his credit card out and put £10,000 on his credit card. And when he did that, I was the most shocked, stunned person in that room. Because that had never happened to me in my life ever before. And I asked my new customer, I said, why did you buy that from me? I don't understand why he did that. And my customer shared it. They said, listen, Marco, the reason I bought it is because when I looked in your eyes, I knew that your product could benefit me and benefit my family and change my life. I could see it inside of you. What that moment gave me is it gave me inspiration. That was my defining moment of my success, of my personal success. And I was able to take that to salesperson of the month, salesperson of the year, and eventually run most of the company. Because I read one book. Now, the book that I read was called Bring Out the Magic in Your Mind, which is inspired by Think and Grow Rich. And now I'm here talking about Think and Grow Rich. I'm here talking about how a book inspired me to change. And the person who gave me that book is that person down there. You'd like to stand up, please? His name's Robert Hamilton. That person is one of the speakers as well in this event. That person had the courage to give me that book when nobody else would help me. That person gave me that book because I asked a question on the last day I was walking home 5 miles, sweating and had no food. The question I asked was, how do I succeed? I asked the question with so much passion and belief that the answer came to me and somebody gave me a book that changed my life. And that's why I'm standing here today to share that with you. And what I'm saying to you here right now is without belief, you have nothing. Belief is everything. It comes before everything that you do. Because without belief, you have no vision. I was listening to Dr. Dudley in the other room before, and he was saying, you know what? You have to have it. You have to know your outcome. You have to have a vision. And if you don't have a vision, read the book again. Get some belief back. That's the default operating mechanism you need to be successful, guys. So belief attracts attention. Rapport inspires trust. And listen carefully to this, because what I'm about to say to you could change your life. Now, rapport is when your customer knows you understand them. I will repeat that. When your customer knows that you understand them. Now, a lot of people don't get to that level of rapport because a lot of people you speak to don't understand you. And what they do is they interrupt you. Has anyone been interrupted when they're talking to somebody? Oh, yeah. Well, you're interrupted. It doesn't feel very nice because there's no rapport there because you don't understand them. Now, there was a great hypnotherapist who lived a very long time ago, about the same time as Napoleon, a little bit later than him, called Milton Erickson. Has anyone heard of Milton Erickson? Milton Erickson was one of the greatest hypnotherapists that ever lived. He was an amazing person. And one of his clients, before she was a client, had seen lots of psychologists for her problem. And the psychologist said, don't worry about it, you'll get better, we'll help you through it. And her problem was, she was referred to Milton Erickson because no one could help her. And Milton Erickson said to her, what is the problem? And she said, I'm the fattest woman I've ever seen. I'm so fat, I can't look at myself. I hate myself. I'm ugly. I'm really ugly. I mean, I'm so ugly, I don't even feel like a woman. This was what Milton Erickson's client said to him. What do you think he said to her? Yes, he said, you know what, lady? You're damn right. You're fat and you're ugly. In fact, you're so ugly, I can't even look at you. And what happened then was, that was the defining moment, because the reason after that session with Milton Erickson, the press asked her, why is Milton Erickson the best? What happened? You know what she said? He's the first man that has ever understood me, ever. Because what he did, he agreed with her. And listen to that very closely, guys, because that's the defining moment to your success in building relationships and doing business around the world. I now have a global business because I focus on building rapport before anything else is transacted. You cannot transact a deal, guys, if you've got no rapport. There's no trust. Does that make sense, everybody? Yes. So once you've got that rapport, you have to demonstrate that you are a doctor. Are there any doctors in the audience? Any doctors here? I don't mean a PhD doctor. I mean a doctor as an analogy that you are an expert of what you do. That you are an expert. Now, I have no academic qualifications. I do not have A-levels, O-levels. I do not have a university degree. But I do have a PhD in getting results for people. And what you've got to do is demonstrate that you are such an expert that any question your customer asks you, you can confidently answer that question without hesitating. And what that does, it removes fear and establishes you as their resource. People are not looking for a salesperson, they're looking for a resource. They're looking for somebody who can assist them in what they're looking for. That's a resource. And a resource generates something called a referral. Has anyone heard of a referral? A referral is the best lead you can ever get because the friends have referred them to you. And what happens is that when you're a great resource, you become an inspiration to those customers, and those customers recommend you and think of you first because you did more service, like Dr. Hill speaks this morning, than you were expecting to receive. You get what I'm saying? So if you want to buy a new computer, you ask your friend, where would I get a new computer from? Someone to get the service from. I know just the person! Her, that lady there! What's your name, man? Miss Chin. I know you don't sell computers. You might do, I don't know, but now you're a computer expert, okay? So suddenly, they feel great because their self-esteem is lifted because they're helping their friend. That's a great referral circle. That's how it works. It's fantastic. Now, once you've got to the belief, report, authority, you have to undo the bra. You have to release the bra before you can complete your brand. And this means you have to know what your niche is. Does everybody know what a niche is? A niche is a focal point of what you do. So people buy from you or buy you as a person because a niche determines your value and your relevancy. Is your business relevant to the person you're talking to? Is it relevant to the customer? Is it relevant to the relationship? The more relevancy, the more desire the person has to know you and do business with you. Does that make sense, everybody? The power of relevance is very simple. Relevance allows you to focus on their needs. So if you're selling to a company, a high relevance is their competitor has experienced better results by using your product. That's very relevant. It creates demand, right? Their industry is using it with proven metrics. That's relevant. So when a company buys from you, if you want them to buy quicker, show them a case study of their competitor improving their results or their industry improving. Individually, a person they know who has joined their business or bought your products and had a great experience, called a testimonial. That's relevance. And the last thing I want to share with you today before I'm hooked off the stage is desire. Now, when you build desire, you have to look at building desire for tangible products and intangible products or services. For example, a car is tangible. Does everybody drive a car? Yes. Right. But driving the car, the experience is intangible. You get what I'm saying? So if you're a car salesman, you would have to do, you would do better by describing the feeling of driving the car. When you put your hands on the steering wheel, can you feel the leather gripping your fingers? So when you're driving the car, you feel safe. When you sit down, and the seat comes around your body, makes you feel comfortable, and gives you a great driving experience. That's describing an intangible feature. And you turn it into a benefit by making it a picture in their mind so they can actually see themselves driving that car. That turns it into desire, which creates demand. And that, my friends, is all I've got time to do for you today. It's my pleasure to share that with you. And thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you.